Much obliged to have you join us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. This is the last episode of the program for the year 2023. Next time we'll be meeting on Politics Today. Of course, it will be in the new year 2024. That makes it germane for us to look at 2023, particularly against the background of the issues that have dominated national discourse in the last 1 year. Talking about governance, to what extent has the present administration fared? Maybe just over 6 months or so that the present administration came on board. The impact of governance in line with the policies and programs of the present administration in terms of changing the narratives, making life more meaningful. Is public knowledge that federal workers couldn't get salary to do Christmas, let alone New Year. That's quite interesting, very, very interesting, and the complaints is becoming more audacious. These and lots more you should expect on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. I'm your host of the most, Sonny Duke Okosun. I want to say big thanks to our panelists here in the studio. Big father here, Barrister Gentleman Amego. Many thanks for always obliging us.
Thank you very much, Duke.
We also have with us Comrade Roy Orivabo. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be having Barrister Yusuf Abubakar joining us via Zoom from Lagos in the course of the program, and to deepen our conversation today on 2023 impacts made, impacts of governance, review of policies, review of programs, and then projections for 2024. Right, let me start off with you on this. 2023 has been a very interesting year. We've seen a whole lot of economic challenges, as it were, but let's get your take on the impacts made, particularly with promises made by the present administration vis-a-vis the realities on the ground.
Precisely.
The 2023 is a year we will not forget in a hurry, you know. And having Nigeria will not forget 2023 in a hurry. You recall 2023 was an election year. Therefore, it was also a year that all eyes were on judiciary. Don't forget that. It was a year that was many things that happened in this country in 2023. You know, it's also a year we lost a governor. It's a year that government removed subsidy. And since the removal of that subsidy, that collapsed Nigeria economy. We have not been able to make it part about it. And that is the reason why some of us have been agitated and keep on calling on government. That is not a crime if you revisit the issue of subsidy, because what controls the economy is the fuel. Once you remove it, is the heart. Once you remove it, the economy will collapse. And we are seeing it. The Nigeria economy, no matter the sentiment we want to just, is collapsing. Gradually, it's going down. It's collapsing at a very fast rate now. The government must think, what am I not doing well? What am I doing? Okay. The Naira, as we are talking, the Naira perpetually, they are devaluating the Naira on daily basis. By seconds, they are devaluating Naira. And Naira is going down. How do you do it? As I'm talking now, Nigeria does not have what it is. There is low electricity. And a country, you want to develop your economy without electricity, how do you do it? Okay, I've never seen an economy that is run by...
Let me pursue there and bring Barrister Yusuf Abubakar, who was the spokesperson of the Rabi Musa Kwankwaso campaign organization in the last general election. Is also the president, League of Patriotic Lawyers. Barrister Yusuf, thanks for your patience and thank you for joining us on the program. Okay, let's get your perspectives on the state of the country, particularly as it relates to the economy, policies and programs on the part of government, and how all of this is translating to impacting positively the lives of the people.
We have come to the irresistible conclusion that the economy we are operating is monolithic, like we know. It has been monolithic right from time, and it's what I would sometimes call the mafia economy. The days of Chinua Achebe. Only the strongest. If you are not able to farm, you just die. Or like what they say in the university, it's either you perish, it's either you publish or you perish. Days of Chinua Achebe, if you are not strong enough to farm adequately, you will be forced to deteriorate or die. Whereas somebody like Unoka If Onoaka was a very good musician and a very good flutist, would have been in the mode of Davido if he had did. But because they have no strength to do the monolithic economy of those days, that is farming, the Moses was asked to die in the evil forest. So we have the Mafia economy, the monolithic economy, which is based purely on oil and oil alone, even though we have restricted resources. Your take-home pay can no longer take you. And what we are experiencing is what, like I always say, Fela Anikulapo will call PHD, poverty, hunger, and disease. And it's unfortunate that we have the hope that we were trying to put on this administration when they came to power, even though I did not support them, has become very, very hopeless. And until this thing is tied to some kind of aspiration, I beg you that we are going to be playing muted trumpets. And bookmakers have come up with the irresistible conclusion that next year, God forbid, 2024 will be worse than this year, which means it's going to be hellish. Going to be poverty-stricken, and we are going to be in for it. And the so-called palliatives, let me just mention this, is like trying to perpetuate poverty. I do not know how a bag of rice or a chicken to a family will sustain them for a month. These people how to fish, or how to grow rice, or how to give soft loans to families and what have you, to farm and all that. Instead of giving them what you tie them to the prospect of poverty, hunger, and disease. It is quite unfortunate that we do not have a direction, both at the local level, state level, and even the federal level.
Okay. All right.
We address this issue of monolithic economy, which I say is a homophilized economy tied to only one source, which is oil alone. Everybody goes to Abuja every month to take allocation. And if the resources are not enough, you are ordered to print money. It again reminds me of Idi Amin's Uganda. They ask constantly to print money from the central bank. Our currency has been hopelessly devalued, and our true leadership are actually descendants of a suffering people. We are descendants of people, and we are determined to suffer the longer.
Let me pause it there, Barrister Yusuf. Let me just pause it there for a moment. I'll come back to you in a bit. Barrister Mego, quickly, talking about the economy. Now, the projections are that it's probably going to get worse in 2024 if the numbers that we currently run, they're anything to go by, which means that the hope that was promised is not there. A whole lot of promises were made in terms of revamping the economy, checkmating the insecurity problems in the country, but all that seems to have persisted. Some economic analysts will tell you that for every policy or program enunciated, there is always a gestation period. 6 months down the line, are we saying that that's not enough time for us to look at what these policies have, how these policies have affected Nigerians?
Well, Joke, yesterday, Wole Soyinka was saying that, it's too early to judge the present administration that is waiting for 12 months to assess the government.
Okay.
You have heard, I have heard, some of us quarrel with the way the cancellation of oil money. We quarreled here, you remember?
First subsidy.
Yes, subsidy. We quarreled over it. I was one of those who said they ought to have done it from bit to bit, rather than removing everything at a stretch. We are all suffering now. And somebody is saying, including yourself, sir, that next year will be worse than this. Then that will be terrible. So a lot of people will still jackpot, a lot of people will still run away if that's the situation we are expecting. But I pray that we will not get there. Now, a lot of things are being said by the government. Like you said, promises made, promises unfulfilled. I would say not fulfilled. We were told some 2-3 months back that by December, the fuel prices will crash and that Port Harcourt refinery will be working. You heard, I heard, and we saw the photographs of those working in the refinery. We also told that Dangote refinery will come on board and that the price will go down. But it's only tomorrow that's left in December now. It is December that they told us. So we are still expecting. You don't just project it to something as if you are talking to fools. Nigerians are intellectuals. They are very intelligent people. Don't downgrade Nigerians. When you tell a Nigerian 2 months and 3 months I'll do it, he will peacefully keep quiet. And at that time he will remind you, sir, you said so and so. Where are we now? So that's the situation. No promise which you hold now dearly. Any promise the government makes now is not a promise to be relied on. It's not a promise to wait for or look up onto, because at that time they will say something else. Like he said from Lagos, our monolithic economic policies will not help us in this country. We have to go back to the soil and till the land.
Okay, where some headsmen are waiting, bandits are waiting. So
okay, what do we do? Do we vacate our land?
We should farm in the air. I mean, in Israel they're doing that. They are farming in the air. We should develop the technology and farming in the air. Let me bring
very sad situation.
Let me get Barrister Yusuf to comment on this. Barrister Yusuf, yes, share with us your perspectives on the state of the economy, particularly referencing some of the promises that were made and the huge expectations that Nigerians have. The Nigerians are having towards this administration. Even though the administration is still pretty young, there's a huge expectation surrounding it based on promises made. Some time ago, we heard that Kaduna Refinery or Port Harcourt Refinery will come on stream. And then a few days later, there was a backtrack on that press release or that news statement, as it were. The talk about Dangote Refinery is neither here and there. People are still making projections to 2024, 2025 before that refinery will start living up to the expectations of Nigerians. I'd like to get your take along those lines, Barrister Yusuf.
I would say it is still a very low. It is still depressing. All these promises, Kaduna Refinery coming on stream, Dangote Refinery being supplied by, crude oil, all that, it does not impact positively on the people's purse. That is the cost of buying petrol and the cost of transportation being reduced. Then it comes to nuts. Even if all the refineries are working, well, we just heard that it's not going to reduce the cost of petroleum. So it's not exciting to me. It means nothing to me. Even if all the refineries are working and it's not going to reflect on the standard of living, transportation, which has gone off the route, then I would say that we will be blowing the trumpet when it comes to expectations, especially by the poor. I would say that the leaders, despite the promises, they have actually learned nothing, and they have forgotten nothing, like the bonbons of old. Remember the Bonbon dynasty, when they were taken out and they were driven into exile? After 22 years, they came back. They were so much in a hurry, during the anarchy past. That's why the historians, they will say that dynasty of the Bonbon, in spite of your 22 years in exile, you've learned nothing and you have forgotten nothing. So the politicians, the present leadership, despite many years to attain their aspirations as governors and president and all that, I dare to say that the Bonbons of old, they have learned nothing and they have forgotten nothing.
Okay, interesting, Barrister Yusuf. I'll come back to you in a moment. But Roy, you've been itching to say something on the state of the economy. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration has made made a lot of promises. For some people, these promises are being realized, even though they are in trickles. For example, to reduce the economic hardship associated with traveling around during the Christmas and New Year celebration, free transportation provided for Nigerians. That's unprecedented. Unprecedented. Yes, Roy.
I think...
but you heard about it.
I heard about it, okay. and I couldn't mobilize my family to park. We were to go to Ohuadua. I moved around the park and nobody was telling me where can I enjoy it. It was a terrible experience for my family. We could not go to because when I heard the news, I was so excited. I said, everybody, let's go to the village and celebrate the Christmas. We got to the park, we were frustrated. And because there was no discussion in that regard. There is no connection. You know, that further even make me to believe that once Nigeria government, once they say something, I don't take them serious. Because over the years, they have demonstrated that they are strangers to integrity, they are strangers to transparency. They have not been able to show that to me. That's my fear about it. Now, Nigeria economy is very tattered, battered. There is nothing you are thinking that will make Nigeria economy to work. You in a hurry, you remove fuel subsidy. Now you are looking for anywhere to say, what I will do. What is the essence of all this? A country that does not have a data. Nigeria don't have a data. You are saying that you want to reduce transportation by 50%. How do you arrive at this? What kind of policy is this? What kind of, I set up my work, I could not even understand what kind of economic policy is this? What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us as a people? You already knew that removal of subsidy is going to create problem for us. And you were in a hurry to do that without even doing your proper investigation. Now, we are now relying on Dangote refinery. A minister, it's only a responsible man that will be telling the children, wait, neighbor will soon finish. Neighbor will food, the neighbor is making, but once it's ready, he will go and beg. It's only a responsible man that will do that. As a responsible man, you must provide for your family. You must develop the skills on how they will eat. Not that you'll be relying on your neighbor. That is what the Nigerian government is telling us. That how can a private man who is out to make profit, that is the refinery Nigerians are now waiting that it's going to work so that you and I will enjoy Nigeria. It will not work. The refinery they told us is going to work in December. It was on this program what they mentioned in December a lot. I said, oh, why are you laughing? I said it will never happen because over the years we are used to these lies. Nigerian government successfully over the years we were told about Vision 2020, about House for All in 2000, never happened. Vision 2020 never happened. There is nothing they have promised us that have worked for us. Apart from this corruption, it's only corruption Nigerian government know how to invest on. And that also takes you back to this removal of subsidy. Even the 50% that have just been snatched on transportation is another corruption. It's another corruption because how are you going to quantify at the end of the day? Who are the people that will benefit from it? We are still in the studio now. I'm aware that none of us have benefited from it. Maybe because of your bourgeois nature, you will not. But I made myself available to access the park so that I can go to my village. And I found out that this is not obtainable here. Okay. Maybe because of I'm asking Nigerians, I want to see those who have benefited from it. I've got some of my friends, have you benefited from this process? They'll say no. How do we get it right? The issue is very direct. The problem we are facing is very direct. I said we have to manage our economy with our Africa brief. Forget the policy from the IMF. Okay. Forget the policy of the World Bank. It does not take anything for. We can let there be refineries working, and you can sell our crude to those who are managing refineries in Naira. The one you want to take to abroad, you can take it to abroad and go and sell in dollar. Heaven will not fall. Most of those countries who have oil, that is how they run their economy. Okay. Because you cannot be producing. You are a young farmer. You are waiting until I harvest my yam in Oko Odua. I will take it to Oba Market. This only Oba Market I will not determine the price. They will not buy my yam in Oko Odua. It doesn't make sense to me. And that's this one. The Nigerian government must look at it. How do we develop an economic policy that is highly Nigerian in laws? So take this crude oil. The crude oil is there. It's available. It's like water. It's just like ocean is there. Take it and give it to refinery. Let them refine for us at that local level and give us the price at that level. Right, the economy will bounce back.
But what I want to say is that. Yes. You probably were expecting too much yourself. The whole of your family. Because the government didn't say in every park it must turn to 50%. It's only when you use government vehicle that it can turn to 50%. Not everybody. You probably saw one post going around where a driver was fighting somebody who wanted this car. You see, so when you say everybody must travel paying 50%, then you are expecting too much. This is a country you just said we have no data in this country. That policy was never in place. Policy was that if you enter a government vehicle, you are going to pay 50. So you go and queue at the ring road and wait for a government vehicle where you can pay 50%.
To go to Hodua.
To go to Hodua.
It's not
So but having said that, the economy of the country is a shame. I do not also know whether we actually have economists, consistent economists, who will help us plan this country. Because we are in disarray. A problem comes, you don't see the economists coming down to say, if you see Duke, he tells you what government should do. If you see somebody else, he tells you a different
thing. Because over the years, those suggestions or ideas are never taken seriously on the part of those in government.
No, but in economics, I'm not one, I'm a lawyer. In economics that we are talking about, there should be a system that is sacrosanct. That if you operate this system, you will arrive at such and such a place. Just like doctor, you have malaria, take paracetamol, you'll be well.
Okay.
Just like us in lawyers too, we look at the situation and say, if we quote this, quote and quote that, we will get judgment. But the economists are not like that. If you have 10 economists, you have 10 ideas.
Okay.
So where are we going?
All right, so let's take you back to Lagos now, where Barrister Yusuf Abubakar is still waiting for us. Barrister Yusuf, I'm going to take you on a different trajectory, which has to do with many times when we talk about the inability of government to perform and live up to the expectations of the people, we are quick to reference what is happening at the federal government level. Are you bothered by the fact that what we're seeing across the country could also be a major shortcomings on the part of state governments living up to the expectations of the people in terms of the economy, in terms of education, in terms of human capital development, in terms of infrastructure? After all, these state governments receive what is called monthly allocation from the federal allocation every month. They also have their own internally generated revenue. Let me get your take on that, Barrister Yusuf.
Just say that I been able to effectively hear what your cerebral heads in studios are contributing. So it's going to be like a monologue.
Okay.
Let me address it effectively. That both the states and federal government, they are culpable. Local government, because virtually local governments are in the pockets of state governments. So it is virtually the federal and the state, and indeed the various state governments are more culpable than the federal government, because they have direct impact or direct relationship with the people, rather than carry out things that will impact on the people. They play politics of division, politics of godfather, politics of trying to superimpose, their choice so that will cover their track. And they don't normally leave this to the choice of the people. So democracy is at a discount. The governors they are even worse offenders when it comes to blame sharing. Because if we have a good government or governance at the state level that can effectively challenge the federal government, like what Bruce Ali did, in those days, or like what Jagaban even performed when he was the governor of Lagos State to Obasanjo. That's why some of us are that they don't not allow the River State governor to breathe. They are standing on the poor man's neck. So the state government should be more assertive, and they should be more proactive in dishing out the dividends of democracy. But they normally go to Abuja every month to bring money. This money do not really reflect on the welfare of the people. The people are becoming poorer as the governors are becoming richer. That is why they are determined to unleash whosoever is their successor on the people. And that is why they move from the party to the other at ease. And when you tell them the penalty for such movement, they will be very, very aggrieved, pay money to kill this, and even try to pocket the judiciary. So I hold the state government firmly responsible for this type of economic mandate. I hold the state government guilty, and they should be so adjudged to be guilty. And if I were in the position, I was sure that any state governor that is financing or sponsoring any candidate should not be allowed to see the dawn, or should not be allowed to succeed. That state candidate should be voted against, because there's really nothing on ground to show in most states. Whereas some governors are also very proactive, and is worthy of recommendation that they can midwife a successor. But those governors that have not paid salary for 8 months, what are you trying to midwife? You want to midwife poverty, hunger, and disease? So it's unfortunate. So I stand by that. There are some governors that are lackadaisical, and they are not worthy to midwife a successor. Okay. And in fact, they constitute a very, very bad or worse dream than the federal government.
All right, let me pause you there. But you see, you want to just quickly anchor the point you were making. Yeah.
At the issue of election matters. When it comes to SIEC, that is the state INEC, you see a governor will be winning 100%. win. There will be no one from the opposition.
Yeah.
But when the federal government wants to use their might to also rig votes, they become very egregious and furious. Whereas they're just trying to do the same thing. The government has done is what the state government is doing at the state level.
Okay.
So it's a question of soldier go, soldier come.
Let me stop you there. Roy, quickly, give me your take. Looking at the fact that within the context of Nigeria and in line with the constitution, there are 3 tiers of government: federal, state, and local government. For some people, like Barrister Yusuf, local government is non-existent.
It's non-existent.
It's non-existent because they are more or less like tied to the apron strings of the state executive, as it were. The state governments, on their own part, what is your assessment based on the data are available, the information that is there in the public space, that if government at the level of the state are effective, efficient in living up to the expectations of the people, some of these shortcomings that are usually attributed to the federal will be drastically reduced? Shortly, quickly.
Of course, you cannot be discussing the issue of local government administration in Nigeria without looking at our constitution. I think those are some of the issues why you recall in 1998 the kind of local government we have, because the system, the constitution gave power to the electoral body to conduct the election, and we were able to discover credible personalities who presided over local government, and the dividends they were able to discharge it accordingly. You know, as of today, this is a different ballgame, and that's the reason why we keep on appealing to those in position of today. They should immediately look at our constitution and see how they can see that power away from the governor. And my fear in all this is, I'm just working on a book I call Hustlers in Government, and I found out that most people in position of authority in Nigeria, with due respect, they are hustlers. And once you are in position, you are a hustler, you cannot reason properly. And that's my fear. Because a situation where anywhere you go to in Nigeria now, you see hustlers. And once it happens like that, the society that works, they don't give hustlers opportunity to preside and manage over their resources. They have an internal mechanism to make sure that if you're a hustler, you cannot get into office. But in this part of the world, hustlers are getting into office. You are seeing governors as hustlers. You are seeing ministers who are hustlers. You are seeing senators who are hustlers. Therefore, you begin to imagine they will not have what it takes to formulate that policy that will make the people to work. That's the reason why we will continue to lament over local government administration in Nigeria until we look at the constitution.
Let's
put the power from the government.
Let's take some few calls just before we call it a wrap. Time is really fast spent. Our studio line will be opened now, so you can call and be part of the discussion. Please tell us your name. Be as brief as possible because several other people are waiting to contribute to the discussion. Hello, caller. Good morning. Tell us your name. Let's have the number on the screen so you can call and be part of the discussion. Tell us your name and where you're calling from, and so we can have your contribution. 08077770300. That's the studio number. Tell us your name, caller, and where you're calling from, and go ahead with your contribution. 08077770300. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Good morning, caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. The number is 08077770300. That's the studio number. Please dial it and let's get your take on the conversation we've had so far. Please be as brief as possible and endeavor to avoid casting aspersion on anyone, whether in the studio or out of the studio. Just go straight to your own contribution. Hello, caller. Good morning. (08077770300). That's the studio number. Dial it and go ahead. Caller, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Good morning. You're live on Politics Today. Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this baby boy from New.
All right, baby boy, please go ahead with your contribution.
This is not all of you there. There's no need discussion about government, our Nigeria government. Nigeria government, they are not for the people. Now, I come to this transport something, that is this something on transport. So gas, how much is gas today? Gas is about plus. kg. Now, they have to say, okay, from today, let's gas to 300 naira. Nigerians will enjoy, will have to be happy. How many people travel? Smart. Everybody using gas. What?
All right, the line is breaking. We just had to post that contribution. Yes, caller, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. 08077770300. Good morning, caller.
Sonny Joe, God bless you.
God bless you too, sir. Go ahead, sir.
God bless you, sir. Bonataga.
Go ahead.
Odua, you never lack wisdom, sir.
Thank you, my brother.
Don't let you understand. That plateau you said, now become in this angle, in this avenue that people will just come out and slaughter some people, go away with it. I believe, on my own little suggestion, the government should do the needful. It did this in order, agreement with the indigenous. If possible, providing the same weapon with the indigenous. Except having agreement signed by the government. Issue of promise and all that. I have a friend in UK who said, if the government is really for the people, they might spend it. 200 naira. The economy, if we are ready to be sincere to ourselves, if the issue of increasing the price is just to, is the suffering for the individual. Those are the only thing we benefit.
Okay. All right, our time is fast. Let me just give our panelists here summary. One last word.
Well, sadly, the time is off. We're going to discuss 3 tiers of government. That is a very sad thing to discuss. Please, let us always call it 2 tiers of government. Federal government and the state.
All right.
All over
across the federation.
Yes. If you are an APC, it must be APC. If you are PDP, it must be. So, local government, as it were, are offices in government house.
Okay. Roy, quickly, final word.
I think we have to pray for God's grace with the data available to us in terms of direction economic policy. 2024 is going to be a very terrible year.
All right.
It will be too much.
All right, Barrister Yusuf, what's your last take? Your last take, Barrister Yusuf. Final word.
Well, I will recommend to the entire nation that they should try and go to Kano and see the prototype my leader and teacher, Dr. Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, is executing. He has been able to weaponize education to fight poverty, to fight want, to fight terrorism. You will discover that Kano, the role of Northwest, up there is Katsina, Kaduna, Bauchi, and Jigawa. It's only in Kano State you don't have this type of terrorist attack.
Okay.
You don't have this type of.
Thank you, Barrister Yusuf. Thank you very much. That's our package for today on Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. It's quite unfortunate that blood is still flowing in the plateau, despite several administrations' efforts to stop that ugly tide. The main thing here is that this is taking an ethnic cleansing action and it's genocidal, whether you like it or not, where we have headers armed to the teeth, go to communities and massacred people. Interestingly, many people who were coming out to sympathize, empathize with the Kaduna bomb blast, some donated their salaries, some were there with aids and all of that. We haven't seen all of these people replicate this kind of humanity disposition in going to some of these victims to empathize with them, to sympathize with them, to support them. Government needs to sit up and do the needful to checkmate these marauders who have been identified to live in particular locations that are accessible. The onus is on the security agencies to do the needful with the support of the federal government. That's my take on the show today. Many thanks for staying with us.